Welcome back, gearheads and nostalgia junkies. You've just shifted into RetroWheelsVault, now unlocking the imports that change the game. And today, we're cracking open a gem that might not rumble like a Detroit V8, but it sure sings a sweet tune when the tack climbs. Welcome to the JDM Vault, where revs hit red and legends are reborn. Now, if you're wondering whether a car with less than 120 horsepower can still kick up some excitement, buckle up, because the 1971 Toyota Celica GT didn't need brute force to leave a mark. It had charisma, sleek lines, and enough 70s flair to land a role in a Bruce Lee flick. Think of it as Japan's answer to the Mustang, but with a diet of rice, precision engineering, and a rebellious streak. This wasn't just a car. It was Toyota dipping its toes into the sports coupe scene and saying, yeah, we can do that too, and do it with style. If it's got a Rising Sun badge, it's got a home here. So whether you're rocking a Gremlin t-shirt or dreaming of Mount Fuji road trips, stay locked in. We're about to take the Celica GT for a spin through time. The 1971 Toyota Celica GT wore its inspiration on its sleeve, or more accurately, its hood. You see, the Celica's design was heavily influenced by none other than the Ford Mustang, especially the classic long hood, short deck look that made pony cars the rock stars of the late 60s and early 70s. It's like Toyota took a peek at the Mustang's playbook and thought, not bad. But what if we made it a bit lighter, a bit tighter, and maybe a little more zen? Imagine the Mustang as a burly heavyweight boxer in the ring, throwing powerful punches with the swagger. The Celica? More like a nimble martial artist, quicker on its feet, sleek, and ready to dance circles around the competition. The long hood gave the Celica that muscle car stance, but its shorter deck kept things compact and practical, perfect for weaving through city streets instead of just tearing up the drag strip. This blend of American bravado and Japanese precision created a car that felt familiar yet fresh, a cheeky homage wrapped in a Rising Sun bow. So next time you see a first-gen Celica, just remember, it's the Mustang's lighter, quicker cousin who showed up to the family reunion ready to party. When it comes to design, the 1971 Toyota Celica GT was like a sushi chef showing up to a Texas barbecue. Unexpected, but impressive in its precision. This wasn't just a Corolla in a party dress. It was Toyota's bold attempt at a sport coupe that looked fast even when parked at a gas station. Long hood, short deck, classic pony car proportions, but with a distinctly Japanese twist. If the Mustang was a linebacker, the Celica was a black belt. Leaner, sharper, and ready to strike. Toyota sculpted this Celica with clean lines, a sporty stance, and just enough chrome to make it pop without screaming for attention. It had a front end that looked like it meant business, those quad headlights peering out like it was daring traffic to challenge it, and the kind of fastback profile that made teenagers start saving up, or just scheming to borrow dad's keys. And the construction? Tight as a drum. Japanese manufacturing in the early 70s was reaching a new level of quality, and the Celica was proof. No rattles, no creaks. Just well-fitted panels and solid feel, like it was built with a slide rule and a bit of a samurai discipline. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement. Pop the hood on 1971 Toyota Celica GT and you're entering a tale of two engine worlds, where the East got the gourmet sushi platter and the West got a bento box with a side of restraint. In Japan, the Celica GT and its track-tuned sibling, the GTV, came packing the 2TG double overhead camshafts 1.6-liter engine, twin Mikuni Solex carburetors, Yamaha's Magic Touch, and a rev-happy spirit that sang soprano at redline. You want more kick though? The 18RG, a 2-liter twin cam which took the performance up a notch with an extra torque and that deep-throated howl that whispered, "Fuji Speedway? Here we come." Meanwhile, in the States, Uncle Sam's Celica GT came with a more subdued single-cam 18R, or later known as the 20R 2.2-liter. Reliable, yes, but it was more yoga instructor than street brawler. And while the Japanese GTV dropped creature comforts for handling with a thicker sway bar and firmer suspension, Americans were still picking between a 4-speed or the optional slush boxes. So whether you got the sharp katana or the dependable toolbox, one thing's for sure, under every Celica's hood lived a soul that wanted to run. When it comes to getting power to the pavement, the 1971 Toyota Celica GT didn't just roll the dice, it brought a full transmission deck to the table. Earlier models played it safe with a 3-speed A40 automatic, A laid-back cruiser perfect for Sunday drives and folks who prefer their gear changes served to them on a silver platter. But if you're feeling a little more spirited, the W40 4-speed manual was your getaway drug. Simple, sturdy, and reliable, like a good friend who always shows up but never throws a punch. Then came the real party trick, the W50 5-speed manual, which joined the US lineup from 1974 to 1977. That gear wasn't just extra, it was liberation, like adding espresso to your morning drive. Now, if you were lucky enough to live in Japan and opted for the GT, you got the creme de la clutch, the P51 5-speed, designed by Porsche. Yes, that Porsche. It shifted with surgical precision, close ratio joy in every notch, like slicing sushi with a samurai sword. So whether you were rolling gears like a sushi chef or letting the automatic do the waltz, the Celica made sure every drive felt like a mechanical symphony on wheels. The 1971 Toyota Celica GT didn't just look like a sports car. It walked the walk with a chassis that knew how to take a corner without begging for mercy. Built in a unibody platform, it was light, rigid, and handled like a go-kart that had grown up and discovered platform shoes and bell-bottoms. Toyota kept things simple and effective. McPherson struts up front and a 4-link live axle with coil springs out back. Not exactly Formula 1 tech, but for the time and the price, it was surprisingly athletic. Think of the suspension as a well-rehearsed funk band. The front end laid down the tight rhythm while the rear end kept the groove in check. Sure, the live axle setup wasn't the most sophisticated, but it was dependable, predictable, and easy to slide around if you weren't feeling cheeky. The Celica didn't float like a land yacht. It gripped the road with just enough firmness to remind you that this was no soft commuter car. Steering was light but responsive, and the relatively short wheelbase made for snappy handling. It wasn't about brute cornering force, it was about rhythm, balance, and a little bit daring. The Celica GT danced through curves like it had jazz in its soul. Step inside the 1971 Toyota Celica GT and you're not entering a luxury lounge. You're stepping into a cockpit built for spirited driving, not sipping lattes. The interior was all business with just enough flair to remind you it was the 70s after all. Bucket seats hugged you like an old friend who knew you were about to do something reckless, and the driver-focused layout put everything within arm's reach, because real drivers don't fumble for knobs. The dashboard was clean and purposeful, with a full set of analog gauges staring back like a flight crew ready for takeoff. Speed, RPMs, fuel, nothing digital, no distractions. Just cold, hard info served with the side of vintage style. And that wood grain trim? More like wood look grain. But hey, it added a touch of class, like wearing a polyester tux to a disco. Technology was minimal but thoughtful. AM/FM radio? Check. Heater that actually worked? Check. Air conditioning? Optional. But if you had it, congratulations. You were driving in style and not sweating through your bell bottoms. In a world before touchscreens and lane keep assist, the Celica's interior was refreshingly analog. It was honest, it was driver focused, and best of all, it made you feel like you were part of the machine. At the rear of the 71 Celica GT sat a no-nonsense open differential. Nothing fancy, just honest gear working, doing its job like a dependable lunch pail worker. It wasn't about smoky burnouts or drift championships. It was about smooth power delivery and predictable handling. No LSD trickery here, just good old-fashioned grip, or lack thereof if you got a little too ambitious in the rain. The suspension and drivetrain combo made it feel like the Celica was dancing on its toes, always ready to pirouette if you pushed too hard. Simple? Yes. Effective? Like a samurai sword. Clean, balanced, and deadly precise. The 1971 Toyota Celica GT wasn't exactly a heavyweight champ, but it sure knew how to bob and weave. At 164.2 inches long, this coupe had just enough real estate to stretch its legs in it without taking up the whole driveway. Think of it as the automotive equivalent of a lean sprinter. No excess bulk, just all go. With a width of 63 inches, it wasn't going to elbow its way through traffic, but it hugged corners like it wrote love letters to them. At 53 inches tall, the Celica sat low and sleek, practically daring the wind to try and slow it down. And with a wheelbase of 94.75 inches, it struck a perfect balance between compact agility and stable cruising, like a gymnast who could also do long-distance runs. Now, the curb weight ranged from 1,962 pounds to 2,615, depending on the trim and other options. That means even at its heaviest, the Celica is still way less than your average modern compact's ego. It was a featherweight fighter in a world full of bloated heavyweights, nimble, efficient, and ready to dance through the corners. In short, Celica wasn't big, it was just right. Goldilocks would have traded porridge for this thing in a heartbeat. The 1971 Toyota Celica GT came to the party with a lot of charm, and just a few quirks it hoped you wouldn't notice under the disco lights. Let's start with the strengths. This car had personality for days. Sharp styling, featherweight build, and a rev-happy engine made it a joy to drive. It wasn't the fastest thing on four wheels, but it knew how to have fun, like that one friend who can't bench press a lot, but wins every dance battle. The 5-speed manual was slick, the handling was nimble, and the reliability, pure Toyota. You could thrash it all weekend and it would still start on Monday with a yawn and a smile. But it wasn't all sunshine and sushi rolls. The US spec 1.9-liter 8RC engine lacked the punch of its Japanese twin-cam cousin, leaving American drivers with slightly less sizzle in their stir-fry. Interior materials leaned toward the budget side, and road noise could sneak in like an uninvited karaoke singer. And that live axle? Charming on smooth roads, less so when things got bumpy. Still, the Celica GT wasn't trying to be perfect, it was trying to be fun, and in that, it succeeded brilliantly. Sometimes, lightweight and likable beats loud and lumbering. The 1971 Toyota Celica GT wasn't built to out-muscle the big guys. It was built to outsmart them. With razor-sharp styling, a high-revving heart, and just enough attitude to turn heads without starting fights, it became Japan's answer to the pony car. It was like Bruce Lee in a world full of heavyweight boxers, smaller, quicker, and far more disciplined. Whether you were tearing through corners or just flexing in the parking lot, the Celica GT delivered that perfect balance of style, speed, and simplicity. Sure, it wasn't flawless. Some US models were more meow than roar, and the ride could get jittery over rough pavement, but that was part of its charm. This wasn't a car for trophy hunting. It was for carving up back roads, revving to red line, and smiling all the way there. So what do you think? Was the first-gen Celica GT a true JDM icon, or just a stylish stepping stone for what Toyota would later become? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing your take. And if you enjoyed this ride through time, give us a like, smash that subscribe button, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on more classic car content. And just remember, keep it boosted, keep it classic.